Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Deraney, and I'm your host. Bob Hayek, it's been a while, my friend. How are you?
I'm great, Drew. How you been?
I'm doing well, my friend. So I always start this out by thanking the person who introduced me to my guest, because if that person didn't do it, we never would have met and we wouldn't be here right now. So this is a reach from 2020. There used to be a networking group called 1BC Networking Group, a gentleman named Greg Petrie or Petrie. So Greg, even though we haven't spoken in 5 years, my friend, I want to thank you for hosting that event because I got to meet Bob Hayek on it. So thank you, sir. So I always talk about how when we're young, we're taught something, and it's not a malicious teaching, but taught from our family and friends and the environment that life is linear. It's a straight line. If you do A plus B plus C, D is going to happen. And for the most part, life is linear until it's not. At some point in our life, some external circumstance comes down called adversity and gets in between one of those letters and derails our straight path in life to a more circuitous route. When that happens, that adversity causes us to do something, or maybe not do something, because I believe there's three types of men. We have man number one who's got a ton of blind spots, doesn't even see that adversity, just goes through life the way people told him, and he doesn't make any changes. I don't have man number one on this show. Then there's man number two. Man number two sees the adversity, yet he says, I'm the victim, everybody's to blame, life's doing this to me, it is what it is, I can't change anything, and he doesn't change anything. Yet on his deathbed, boy, does he have a ton of regrets. Well, I don't bring man number two on the show either. I bring man number three on the show. I bring Bob Hayek on. Man number three sees the adversity. He's got a heightened self awareness. Yet he says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. He says, this adversity is not a barrier, it's an opportunity to do something different, take massive action, and become a stronger man on the other side. So, with that, Bob, if you could, that defining moment, think back as far as you need to for that defining moment, whether it was a tap on the shoulder, a whisper in the ear, or like what I needed, 2x4 upside my head, that kind of transformed you from the man you used to be to the man you are now and has really impacted you personally and professionally.
It's around this time. My dad was um, in the VA hospital in East Orange, New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and he came down with staph infection.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, nobody would go into his room. Even the barber wouldn't go in. I went out and I bought a kit to give him a haircut because Christmas was coming and I didn't want him to look like a slob. So Christmas Eve, I went in there and you know, cut his hair for him. He had bald spots all over his head, and he would laugh. Now he couldn't talk for the last 15 years of his life. He couldn't walk, talk, or eat. I mean, he just laid there and looked at the ceiling. But I knew what he was trying to say, and we communicated some way through that. And that night, for whatever reason, I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I sat on his bed and I basically just said to him, Look, Dad, you don't need to be here anymore. I'm okay. I know what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. And that was Christmas Eve. 2 days later, he passed.
Wow.
And I thought I was prepared for it, but I wasn't. I wasn't at all. And I ended up having a nervous breakdown. Spent a week in a hospital. I just, I lost it. I just lost it.
Yeah.
But one day in my yard, I realized something because my whole upbringing, I was the black sheep. I was one of six kids. I fought everything.
Mhm.
I didn't go with the flow. And that one morning I woke up, I was outside cutting my grass, and I don't know what happened, but I just started laughing hysterically. So loud that my wife came out of the house because she heard me over the lawnmower.
Yeah.
She's like, what's going on? I said, I just realized something. She's like, what? I said, I own this lawnmower. I own this house. And I realized that I was the one that did that,
Hmm.
and I was okay. And it was really strange because people that knew me, some of them walked right by me, didn't even realize it was me. My own mother walked past me, didn't realize it was me because I changed.
Wow.
And that was probably the beginning of why my wife and I divorced, because when we met, we needed each other, and at that
Hmm.
point, I realized I don't need. I'm okay,
Hmm.
and that was probably the defining moment where I just decided that nah, nothing's going to stay the same, and I'm going forward, and I did.
Wow. There's a lot. There's a lot there. Seems as if Dad hung on for you. He wanted to be there until he knew you were going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say much, but I got a lot out of it. I mean, the nurses there at the hospital always said that he was probably the happiest guy they ever met.
Oh wow.
Every time they'd walk in the room, he'd have a smile on his face.
Aw,
Man, the only thing he heard was the white noise on the TV and looked at the ceiling.
hmm.
But
Unbelievable.
he was aware. I
Yeah.
mean, he was fully aware. I
Right.
mean, I'll give you a really spooky one. And this happened multiple times. He was always in a room with multiple people because he couldn't talk.
Right.
So if something happened, he needed to have somebody there that could say. But we would be having a conversation and he'd start blinking his eyes and looking over, and the guy next to him just passed away. And he knew it.
Oh boy.
And that happened multiple times.
Wow.
So he always knew, and he always told me when he did was able to speak, he always said, whatever you want to do, you can do as long as you put your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've achieved some things that I wanted to achieve, and some things I haven't. But
Right.
that's life. Like you
That is.
said,
That is
that straight
absolutely.
line isn't really straight.
No. No. It
You
certainly
know.
is not. Well, Guy, your father gave you the gift of being there for you, and you thought you were ready. And like we said, we're never ready, whether we believe so or not. So when Dad was gone, the whole lawnmower thing is pretty powerful to me because a lot of times we go through life on autopilot and we collect things, the home, the lawnmower, the accessories for cutting the lawn, all this kind of stuff, and we don't stop and think that we've been successful in moving forward in life, and even obtaining certain things, not the actual material possession, but the act of being able to do it and choosing to do it. That's pretty powerful, and we don't acknowledge that of ourselves very often. So the fact that you had that wherewithal while you're mowing that lawn to say, "I did this, and I can do more," I give you a lot of credit, and I think it's ironic that then what set off the divorce happening, and that usually happens, Bob, when one person in the partnership works on personal development and the other has stand pat.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So after your divorce, what was the next thing that you did for yourself that you set you on a path to where you are now?
Well, there was another hiccup. As I was getting divorced, I bumped into a high school friend
Yeah.
um, who was living in Florida. I was in New Jersey. I was living with my sister,
Right.
and we started talking on Facebook and whatever. And I didn't even realize it. And she goes, "You don't remember me?" I'm like, "Nah." I don't remember you.
Okay.
She goes, Bob, we had classes together. I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. But we got to become, we were having a conversations, and she was in Florida. I started going down to Florida, and divorce was getting almost finalized, and she wanted her son was getting married, and she was thinking about coming to New Jersey, and I was wanting to get out of my sister's house. So I
Right.
said to her, why don't we, we'll get an apartment together and live together here in Jersey. I'll come down and get you. So I did.
Wow.
And we were living in Carteret. We were
Uh-huh.
there for about 6 months. And one Monday night, she basically passed away in my arms.
Oh my goodness.
And it really threw me for a loop because here I go again. I got married to somebody I thought who loved me,
Right.
didn't really, it was just convenient.
Right.
And now somebody who I really, really cared for and really grown fond of just leaves me. Well, where am I? What do I do?
Wow.
And I went and I sought help, and the therapist like, you got to go out and date. You got to go out and meet people. I'm like, I don't know. And I tried it. I really did. I tried it, and it just wasn't working. And I almost got to the point where just again cashing out and saying I'm done.
Yeah.
And I met Vivian
I love this
online.
story. I love this the Vivian story, and I do remember you telling me about the incident about
I was there. I was
yeah,
closing out every one of my dating apps I could find.
yeah,
And the last one, I said, oh, let me just go through this one more time. And I came across her picture, her standing next to a plane.
hmm,
And I'm like, oh, she's got a plane. She lives in Carteret or in Garwood.
okay,
And I'm like, she's close. So, we talked. And I said to her, look, you don't know me. I don't know you. The way I do this is we'll get together for 10, 15 minutes, have a cup of coffee. You go your way, I go my way. And if we want to talk again, we contact each other. I said, so why don't you do this? Pick a place that you're comfortable
hmm,
being at, and I'll meet you there. She goes, okay. How about the Holiday Inn in Garwood? And I didn't even think about it because I used to use the Holiday Inn all the time to
yeah.
make phone calls. There's a real nice meeting area in the
Oh,
middle.
okay, yep,
So, she's thinking as soon as she said it, she's like, oh my God, I'm telling this guy to meet me at a hotel. But I
oh,
understood the area and
yeah,
whatever.
right.
So I met her there. We sat. Next thing we know, it was 3 hours later.
Oh wow, there's your 10 to 15 minutes. All right.
Yeah. And she went her way and I went my way. And it was the strangest thing because it was like I already know her.
Hmm.
Everything and she listened.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
And she said, I told her my whole life story. I said, well, if you're willing to listen to me, babble, I guess we got something there. And it was weird though, when I met her boys and her daughter.
Yeah.
They also said, "Man, why do we feel like we know them?"
Oh wow.
Well, the reason probably is because I lived in Cranford, they lived in Garwood.
Yeah.
We probably crossed paths in the grocery store, at the groomers, because
Yeah.
we use the same groomer, the same laundry. So we probably went by each other,
Right.
but never communicated anything.
Sure.
But she saved my life. I mean,
Unbelievable.
and
Unbelievable.
she's been a stone because what I went through with my kids
Yeah.
was devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating.
Now, there's a few things here. So I remember that we'll get to what happened with your kids. I know that was devastating. I hear you, pal. The plane turned out not to be
Well,
that.
yeah, a couple
That was a
weeks
good one.
after that, yeah,
That was
after
fun.
meeting her, I finally said, so when are we going to go up in the plane? And she's like, what plane? The plane that you're standing in the picture. She goes, it starts laughing. She goes, oh, that wasn't my plane. That was another Bob I dated. I said,
Oh,
well, how many Bobs have you dated? He goes, well, you'll be B5.
Oh,
I
I
said,
love it. Oh,
no, I won't
really?
be B5. I'll be B1 and everybody will be B4.
Yeah. I love that before. I love that, Bob. That's a funny story because if the plane wasn't in the picture, that would that have caught your eye, or did Vivian catch your eye?
Well, Vivian definitely caught my
There we
eye.
go. All right, good, good. That was the right answer. All right, so let's get to. I know. Tell us a little about what happened with your kids, Bob, because that for you to
Well,
still,
Fiona,
yeah.
when she had passed away, March 22nd, 2015, they came to the service and everything, and
Okay.
that night they came back to my apartment, my kids, and yeah, I wasn't in the right mind. I was, and my daughter at the time was married to Jules, whose family were all wrapped around the Neptune Police Department.
Okay.
And what they said, I said, which I don't, to this day, I don't, oh, I don't know exactly how it went, but I
Yeah.
can guess. Jules asked me, so what happened? And I explained, she came home from work. We had dinner. Unfortunately, the night before we had a little bit of a, back and forth because of my son. And, we didn't go to bed on good terms. And she left that morning for work, came home, dinner. We still haven't really talked. And she sat on the couch. She asked me if I could make her some tea. I got up, I made her tea. He was drinking tea. We were watching The Voice, I think it was, or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what he said to me, probably said to me, was, what did you put in it? So I answered it as stupidly as he asked. I put arsenic.
Oh no.
What do you think? I said, what do you mean, what did I put in it? Well, a couple other things were said that night. I don't remember exactly. They left. That was March 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay. Father's Day is June what?
15th, 16th, whatever that Sunday is, right? Yeah.
I'm out with my son looking at apartments, and as we're walking out of the apartment, he says to me, Dad, I got to ask you a question. Did you kill Fiona?
Mm. Oh my God.
I'm like, what? Well, you said you put arsenic in her drink and she didn't have you cremated her, you're an insurance agent. Did you do it for the insurance money? I'm like, Bob, what in the world is wrong with you?
Holy Jesus.
And at one point I almost hit him
Yeah.
and I was screaming. I'm like, you're out of your mind. You're absolutely, and it didn't dawn on me until a couple days later that my wife, ex-wife, let my kids believe that I could do something like that.
Jeez.
And they festered on it from March 22nd till June, whatever,
Yeah.
before they even questioned me. They didn't think to pick up the phone the next day and say, hey, Dad, what are you talking about? What did you do? Why did you say what you said last night?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, and it hurts because it'll never go away.
Right.
That you can't take that back.
No.
I have a relationship with my daughter. I'm starting to.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a baby,
Oh,
and the baby's
congrats.
walking today. It was the first time I saw her walk, and
Congratulations
she's
on that.
pregnant again.
Ah.
So I'm able to have a conversation and this and that. My son still, he's not right. There's something
Yeah.
off.
That's a shame. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, like you said, Vivian has been a rock for you, and thank God she's in the picture. Um, with everything going on, I know that professionally you have had a bunch of different things cooking. And when you and I met in 2020, You had mentioned ASEA. You wanted to talk a little about. Actually, let's talk about ASEA after you tell us about how you. I know you're also in the financial industry
Well,
as
I've been
well.
in the financial industry since 1993.
Okay, all right. And was that always your passion at that time, is to go into that industry?
No.
What was your passion?
My
Because
passion was I was a musician.
I was gonna get there. Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to drum for the rest of my life, but that didn't, you know, you talk about the straight line.
Yeah.
You talk about things if you look back in your life, there's things that happen and they happen for a reason.
Right.
We don't know why.
Right.
They're just there. And based on what happens will determine which way you go.
Right.
And back in the day, I was playing with a band called the Davis Janes Band.
Okay.
We featured Leslie West from Mountain. We would
Mm-hmm.
do shows, and I was the youngest one in the band. And probably, now that I really think about it, probably the most talented one in the band, other than Davis, who wrote the material.
Right.
But I never had the confidence at that time in my ability,
Okay.
which is where what happened was Leslie got married.
Okay.
We were all invited to the wedding. Me, I said to Dave, is everybody going to the wedding? No, we're not going. You're not going, are you? I'm like, well, if they're not going, I'm not going.
Oh wow.
I didn't go. I think they all went.
Oh boy.
Um, and Dave, I've seen Dave since, and he's apologized to me a couple times for things. One being that they had another tour that they did, and Leslie actually asked for me, and he told them he didn't know where I was,
Oh boy.
and he knew where I was.
Jeez.
So, and but I didn't go. But if I probably went, I'd probably still be in music,
Amazing how things happen, huh?
right? Because there was talent there. There was the ability to talk to somebody and maybe do something different with a different band or whatever. But I didn't, and that's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. It happens. So after the music career, and I know I think you showed me once you had long hair.
I had hair once,
You had
yes.
hair once. I love it. I love that picture. You showed me that picture once. So after the music, did you how did you get into the whole financial industry?
Well, I was, what was I doing before I got in there? Oh, I was working at a florist,
Okay. All right.
and I realized I had to do something. So I got into the semiconductor industry
Okay.
because my ex-father was in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, you're a good salesman. You'd probably do well." So I interviewed a couple places, but unfortunately, I got hired and fired in the same day because I didn't realize I needed to have a driver's license, which I didn't
Oh
have a driver's license at the time
boy.
because I lost it.
Oh boy.
But finally, I got in the industry, and I was in that industry for about 10 years,
The
and
industry of
of semiconductors.
semiconductors. Okay.
I mean, basically everything that's in a computer, every AMD, Intel, National Semiconductor,
Yeah.
Signetics, all these different companies. And Jersey was a big area for manufacturing
Okay.
of different things that needed these parts. And I got involved, and I was the one that they always put me on the cases that or the companies they couldn't break.
Oh,
And I'd break them.
no, I love it.
I'd get in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget. There was one company we were working with. I forget the name of what it was called, but the purchasing agent was Mr. Lee, a Korean gentleman,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget it. I'm trying to break into this company. I get into the where the engineers are, and I'm
Right.
talking to one of the engineers about a device that they want to use, but they can't afford it. It was the right one, but they can't afford it. It was too expensive.
Wow.
And Mr. Lee got wind that I was in that department. He walks in, basically grabs me by the collar, walks me out the door, and says, "I don't ever want to see you in here again."
Oh,
He goes, "You came in here without my permission. You're not allowed back in."
wow.
Okay. But I had all the information I needed
Yeah.
to help them out. So I went to Harris Semiconductor and I said, "Look, this is the situation. They want to use this part. It's either you or this other company, I forget who it was, they're
Yeah.
going to use. If you want this business, we need to figure out a way." He goes, "Well, how many part?" He goes, "Will they do a letter of intent?" I said, "They would do a letter of intent." I said, if you can get them a letter of intent, we can do this pricing." And I knew the pricing would work.
Right. Okay.
So I go back, get back in. I tell the engineer before I go in that I got this information.
Yeah.
So I make an appointment to see Mr. Lee, and he's like, "I don't want to talk to you." I said, "Yeah, you do." And he said, "I don't want to talk." I said, "Yeah, you do." I said, "Call Dr. Gupta and have him come to your office." That was the engineer I was talking to.
Right.
Brings him in. He says, "Bob's on the phone. He's telling me I need to talk." Yeah, he goes, "You do need to talk to Bob." I said, "Mr. Lee, I know what I did wasn't right. I apologize, but I have a fix for you." I said, "You need this part. They want to use this part. Pricing isn't right. I got the pricing down to be worthy of what you want to do and in the area you want it to be. All you got to do is sign a letter of intent and you got the pricing." I was their number one distributor for the next 6 and 7 years.
Wow.
Nobody could touch what I did for them.
That's wonderful.
I
I
mean,
love
the
that.
owner, we would go out to dinner, he'd bring me gifts. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And Mr. Lee would talk to you again.
Mr. Lee was part of my family.
I love that story. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's fast forward after
All right, so we get
semiconductor
out of
life.
there. Well, then
Yeah.
what happened was the industry started to dissolve.
Okay.
And I was at a point where I got a guarantee from a company, and there were four guys, sales guys, and the amount of business we were doing wasn't enough to pay my salary.
Oh boy.
So the writing was on the wall. So I
Right.
went out and I started looking for other opportunity. And I started to look into the insurance business because of the residual aspect.
Right.
And I went to a Prime America meeting.
Right.
I'm in the meeting and the guys, come talking to us and telling us about the residual. And I'm like, "Yeah, this is what I want." Yeah, is that? And some guy comes in the door with this big check and he's hooting and hollering and screaming. And I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this isn't what I want." And I get up and I start walking to the door. And the guy goes, "Yo, where you going?" I said, "I'm leaving." He goes, "You don't want to make money?" I said, "Not that way." And I walked out the door. And I called my cousin that night, Mark, because Jane, my cousin Jane's married to Mark. His father owned an equitable agency.
Okay.
And I said, "Mark, have you ever heard of this company, Prime America?" He's like, "Bob, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I went for an interview. And, they were hooting and hollering. This guy comes in with this check. He goes, 'Bob, what are you doing Monday?' I said, 'What are you talking about?' He goes, 'I want you to come meet me and my dad.' I'm like, 'What?' So they meet me and we go into New York, into the headquarters in New York, have round table and the whining and dining me. I go home that night. I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna become an insurance agent. I'm telling my wife, she's still, I was nuts. I said I could go and get all my licenses and everything while I'm working. They won't even know I'm doing it because they don't know where I am at anyway.
Right.
That night, um, my boss, who they brought in from Florida, says to me, "I'm traveling with you tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. I'm like, where are we going? He goes, well, go wherever you're going to go. We're going to go. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, the guy was a moron. So I meet him at in Edison at the hotel in the
Right.
morning, and we're having breakfast. And he says to me, why doesn't Integrated Networks, that was the company that Mr.
Yeah.
Lee,
Right.
um, want to do the kitting program? I said, well, they don't see a value in it. He goes, well, you have to get them to see it. I said, well, I can't make somebody see something they don't see.
Right.
He goes, really? He goes, you're fired. You're out of here. I said, excuse me? He goes, you're terminated. You're done. If you can't convince them to see something, you're done. We don't, you're done. Don't call the office. Don't go to the office.
Jeez.
You're done.
Okay.
Now we're having breakfast.
Yeah. Nice breakfast.
He says to me, I got a question for you. He's like, what's that? Where do I get gas? I said, a gas station. And I got up and I walked away.
That was
I
it.
turned, I'm in the hotel and I go out of the restaurant and I go sit at the phones because there were no pay. We had
Right.
those calling cards and all of that
Right.
back.
Right. Yeah.
And I proceeded to call every one of my clients and let them know that I was just terminated. Well, that gave him a headache because
Yeah. Good.
by the time he got back to the office, his phone did not stop ringing. He got phone calls from people I never even did business with, telling him, who the hell do you, right?
Yeah.
Well, he then tells me that, whatever. I mean, he was just, he did me a major, major favor
Okay.
because what he did was he forced me to do what I had to do to change career.
Okay. I see. So it was a blessing.
Yeah, so I had to get a life and health license
Mm-hmm.
and I had to get a Series 6 license. Now,
Okay.
high school and me did not get
Did not get
along.
along. Yeah.
School,
Nope.
so for me to go back to learning was difficult. Well, I did my life and health in one shot. I
Good.
did my Series 6 in one shot.
Good for you.
But what I was told I would make
Yeah.
income-wise
Yeah.
was not even close.
They overestimated, or yeah. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had to learn real quick on how to make money
Mm-hmm.
in the industry, and I hooked up with an agent inside there. And he was a CFP. I made appointments, he closed them. I made them, he closed them.
Oh, I like that.
And I learned what to do and how to do it. And,
Right.
I got real good at making phone calls. I'd get in at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'd turn the lights off at 9 o'clock at night
Mm-hmm.
every single day, 6 days a week. And I worked my butt off. Yeah.
And where'd that bring you? I know you own your own financial.
Well, that brought me to a point where, well, in 2009, I was diagnosed with MS
Oh.
and my health started to decline.
Oh boy.
So when Vivian and I met, I said to her, I can't live here in New Jersey anymore. The cold just kills me. And I said, we got to go. The house she lived in for almost 40 years, I forced her to sell it.
Oh boy. Oh.
So she sold her house, retired at the same time, moved to Florida. She was cursing me all the way to Florida. And she'll tell you, she was cursing me left and right all the
Oh
way to
boy.
Florida.
Yep.
But when she got here, every day she woke up, she'd pinch herself and go, do I really live here?
Mm.
Because it's beautiful. We live in heaven here.
Right.
And when I got here, I bumped into a program in my industry I never ever saw before. And I really took a liking to it because it really helps people get out of debt, credit card debt,
Right.
mortgages, student loans, medical
Sure.
bills. Basically, anything you're paying interest to, we show you how to turn it around and put it back in your bank.
Right.
Well, I got so excited, I opened up a company called Financial Independence LLC.
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing live networking events in a restaurant here in Florida, we'd have 20, 30 people showing up in a time showing them what we do. And everything was rock and roll, everything was good, and then COVID hit.
Oh boy.
And when COVID hit, it just put the brakes on everything
Mm-hmm.
and forced me online. And my first Zoom meeting was with one BC.
Yep.
And I was waiting for it to start. And the guy that invited me, I was telling him I was in the Everglades fishing with my fishing guide, and I had to cut my trip short because my shoulder locked. And there was a girl on the call. She's like, "Oh, I got a great product for you. It's got a 30-day money back guarantee. It won't hurt you." I said, "Really? Is it a network marketing company?" She's like, "Yep." I said, "No, thank you. Bye bye." And I just blew her off, Lisa Cassetti. And for 2 months, every week she'd come on that call and go, "How's your shoulder?" And finally, when I had an MRI of my left shoulder and the orthopedic surgeon wanted to go in, I'm like, "Nah, no, wait a minute." So I called her back. I said, "Lisa, you seem very adamant you have something that can help me." And she did. She said, "We have a water that you drink." Blah,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. And at the time, they had a gel, which was a topical.
Right.
So I ordered them. Didn't think anything of it. I figured, "Oh, let me try it. What the hell?" So I get the stuff. I call her. I said, "What do I do with it?" She goes, "Rate the pain in your shoulder from 1 to 10." I said, 10. I said, "I can't get my elbow off my body." She goes, "Apply the gel 3 times in 5 minutes to your shoulder." And I started laughing. I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Put it on, let it dry, put it on, let it dry, put it on, let it dry." I started really laughing. I said, "At least I don't smell it. I don't feel it. And whatever the heck I put on my shoulder, it's gone. It disappeared." She goes, "Okay, just wait." I said, "Wait for what?" And we kept talking. Yes, God is my witness on my father's grave. It was less than 10 minutes. I went like that. When I did that, I went, "You got to be kidding me.
Wow. I love that.
How is it possible?" I
He
could not
raised,
move my
for those of
shoulder.
you listening on audio, he raised his shoulder. He had shown a bottle of ASEA Redox and the gel, and Bob was able to raise his locked shoulder because of the MS. Yeah.
So I said, "Well, no, the shoulder was because it just
Oh,
worn
just,
out from
oh, well, it
fishing."
had nothing to do with MS. It had,
No,
it
no,
just,
that was just
just locked on.
bad. That was actually, I got hit in football and everything else,
Oh,
and
it
it
was a
was just
football injury.
beat
Okay.
it up.
Got it.
But I said to Lisa, I said, "I need to talk to somebody." So she introduced me to Dr. David Silverman. He sits on the medical board of the company.
Right.
And I said, "I've used this gel 3, 4, 5 days, got great motion in my shoulder, virtually no discomfort, but that's not my problem."
Hmm.
And he's like, "What do you mean?" Well, see, what Lisa didn't realize in 2020, my kidneys were basically in renal failure. My liver enzymes were 4 times what they were supposed to be. I
Jeez.
was taking 1,200 milligrams of gabapentin just to put my feet on the floor, and it wasn't working.
Wow.
My bladder held 2 to 3 ounces of fluid. I was up 2, 3 times a night going to the bathroom. I was having headaches 2 to 3 times a week.
Jeez.
I was in a fog. I had no energy. I was a mess.
And
Now,
then, now you're not.
it's all gone.
Oh my gosh. So, right now we don't have much time left, so we're gonna move on. But I want you to just for quick basic 101, tell people what ASEA is.
Well, ASEA is basically the communication between our cells and our immune system. These are molecules that we produce in every one of our cells during the Krebs cycle when we produce what we call adenosine triphosphate, which is energy. These two molecules communicate to the cells to help repair or replace and get the immune system to react to a problem.
Right.
Without them, you're gone in about 3 seconds. So they're that important.
Yep.
This company's been able to reproduce those molecules outside the human body in a
Hmm.
bioactive form,
Yep.
meaning it's bioidentical energy
Hmm.
that our body produces.
Yep. And folks out there, I actually use the water redox and the gel, and I've seen my pain dissipate and energy increase and whatnot. So it is the real deal. I think network marketing gets a bad rap just because of a few bad eggs in the industry, but ASEA. I'm sure we're going to move on, but you guys, I know you captured the essence of Bob Hayek, and you're going to want to get in touch with him, especially about the ASEA product. And you can get in touch with Bob and his phone number. It's 732-241-7427.
No, no, no,
Or
no. Nope.
what?
732. 241-3427.
3427. Drew couldn't read his own writing. 3427. Or at his email address at Hayek, Hayek .rj@gmail.com. And Bob's awesome. Bob brought me in on the SIA. He's on my what's it called, the upline or whatever.
I'm your sponsor.
He's my sponsor. He's my brother from another mother, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely that. So Bob, I want to ask you a couple questions before we wrap up. So I want to give you the opportunity of you're in your happy place. You're sitting with 7 to 10-year-old Bob Hayek, and you want to give him advice about life. What are you going to tell young Bob?
Go for your dreams. Go for it.
Love
Believe in yourself.
it.
Have the confidence to do what you want to do.
Hmm.
Don't let anybody derail you from that, because it's your life. Everybody else could be gone. It's you. So it's your dream, it's your goal, it's your passion. Go for it.
Love it. All right, now switch gears, and now you're speaking with young Bob, the young businessman, young entrepreneur, and you want to give him advice about business. What are you going to tell him?
You got to be focused. You got to be driven. You can't you've got to be persistent and consistent in what you do, and you got to learn. You got to look to others for guidance, but you got to be focused. You got to stay on course and do what you need to do.
Love it. Well, Bob, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming into my life, my friend. You are a wonderful guy. Keep doing what you're doing. You're helping a ton of people with not only the financial stuff, but also the biotech stuff with the SIA, because Redox is the real deal, and they know how to do it. So, Bob, thanks again, my friend.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Drew. You're
Uh,
doing a great thing here.
my pleasure, my pleasure. Everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.